Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another exciting episode of Trigger Warning Radio. I am your host, the Kaiju Conservative. 300 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm absolutely speechless. I thought it would take much longer than it has to hit this number, but right now, as of this recording, my channel is sitting at 308 subscribers, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you, everybody who's subscribed to this channel. I mean, you guys are the reason why I'm doing this. I mean, just the fact that there are 308 people out there that are listening to my absolutely insane political ramblings is just phenomenal. And I had to start today's show out by commenting on that fact and just thanking you all once again. So let's get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. Senator Jeff Flake, quote-unquote Republican Arizona, of course retiring because his approval rating is somewhere in the mid to high teens, and he has absolutely no shot in hell of winning re-election. He went on Meet the Press on NBC, and he had some things to say about President Trump. He always has things to say about President Trump, none of them good. But he was asked by Chuck Todd what he thinks about President Trump's behavior, particularly towards the press. And here's what he had to say. Let's take a listen.
I don't know where to start. I mean, on this free press thing, he's done this before. He referred to the press as the enemy of the people. Mm-hmm. He stood next to Duterte as Duterte referred to the press as spies and laughed. And it has an effect. Words matter. We have a record number of journalists being jailed overseas, some on false news charges, echoing the phrases that he uses. So I don't think it's a responsible thing to do. I really don't.
Folks, is there any doubt left in anybody's mind that Jeff Flake is setting himself up for a 2020 run against President Trump? I mean, why else go on Meet the Press and talk like this? Why else have all these speeches from the Senate floor condemning Trump and his rhetoric and his behavior and blah, 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 blah? Why do all of that if it's just sour grapes and you're not considering challenging him in 2020? I mean, I don't think Flake has any hope in hell of coming anywhere close to winning a primary. He's got no redeeming qualities. He looks like a douchebag. He talks like a douchebag. He acts like a douchebag. His entire state thinks he's a douchebag. He is going to get destroyed by President Trump. I think what his goal more is going to be, rather than winning a primary, I think he's going to go for an independent run. I think he's going to set himself up as a spoiler for President Trump, and the conservative with a conscience, if you will, that will enable the Democrat Party candidate to score enough votes to unseat President Trump. Will it work? I don't think so. I have a feeling Jeff Flake's going to get even less votes than Evan McMullin did when he ran. I don't think it's gonna work at all. But going back to what Flake said, ladies and gentlemen, how he essentially blamed President Trump for the record number of journalists that are being jailed across the world, he says. So I want to know, what are some examples? What are some stories? Jeff Flake, obviously, he's got the hookup. He's got the knowledge. Who is being jailed because of Trump's behavior? What country that doesn't respect freedom of the press? What country has stood up and said, you know what? Trump's right. The news media is a lot of fake news. So we're just going to jail all these journalists. Come on. Come on. Is there anybody out there that's buying this nonsense? Other than, the most hardcore leftists out there. who Trump is the cause of every evil thing in the world. He's got no idea what he's talking about. And he's just, again, he's setting himself up for a 2020 run. But more to the point, what I would ask Jeff Flake and others like him is this. Does the media not bear responsibility for how they are perceived in this country and abroad? You know, it's no secret that the mainstream media in America is not very well trusted, ladies and gentlemen, and there's good reason for that as well. It's not something that's just happened all of a sudden. I mean, it's something that's been a long time coming. I want to say it started with the Obama years, but it hasn't. It didn't start with that. It didn't even start with the Bush years. You know, this is something that's been decades in the making, this low approval rating that the mainstream media has. You know, it came to the forefront in the Obama years when you had, you know, mainstream media hacks pretending to be journalists but refusing to ask Obama tough questions. You know, you had press conferences where the press literally fawned over Obama, and they asked him, "Oh, what's the most magical thing about being president?" Or, you know, what do you like most about living in the White House? You know, that sort of crap. Where they're not serious questions, and they're not even trying to do the job of serious journalism. I mean, people saw that and they didn't like it. They saw the blatant bias in the news media back then, and even then they started to tune people out. Even go back into the Bush years, you know, they were tuning the news media out. I mean, Dan Rather, fake but accurate. Dan Rather faked an entire news story trying to influence the election against George W. Bush, and with that National Guard memo, and he I mean, granted, he was fired for that, but that's, you know, stuff like that has contributed to the media's perception, or how the media is perceived today. Even today, that the media bias has become even worse, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you have CNN literally spending all day, every day on Russian collusion, which is a non-existent scam set up by the Democrat Party to distract from their collusion with the Russians throughout the Obama administration. You have CNN literally blackmailing people because they're posting memes that they don't like, and chasing down old ladies at their houses and doxing old ladies. And you have, you know, you have smaller leftist media outlets that are doxing people online, gleefully doxing people online, because they share a differing opinion, because they're going against the leftist opinion that the media espouses. So considering all of that, Senator Flake, is the media not at least mostly, I would argue, mostly responsible for the fact that nobody trusts them? You know, why aren't you taking Chuck Todd to task for some of the things that his network has done? Why aren't you pointing out the extreme anti-Trump, anti-American bias of the left-wing media? And I'll tell you why he's not doing that, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you exactly why. Jeff Flake is a swamp creature. He's a GOP establishment through and through. He's not a conservative. You know, he's basically almost a Democrat at this point. So he's trying to ingratiate himself into the media's good graces, like all GOP establishment people have done throughout their careers. You know, they want to be liked by the media, and he thinks that, you know, bashing Trump and blaming Trump for everything under the sun and condemning Trump at every turn, he thinks this is the way to do that. And he's right to an extent. You know, the media loves him. The media has him on a lot, and it's because he hates Trump. I mean, the media loves Kim Jong-un because he insulted Trump. So, you know, at this point, Hitler could come back, Hitler himself could come back, say he condemns Trump, and CNN and NBC, MSNBC, ABC, all those networks, they would absolutely fawn over the guy at this point, ladies and gentlemen. So he's trying to ingratiate himself into the news media. He's trying to get loved by them. What he doesn't understand is that the media will only love him as long as Trump is in power and as long as he continues to condemn Trump. Once Trump is out of power, whether he's impeached, not bloody likely, or, in 2024 when he ends out his second term, once Trump's out of power, Jeff Flake is going to be another Rethuglican for the media to mock and deride and hate. And he is something that he doesn't understand, and it's pathetic at this point, ladies and gentlemen. The whole song and dance that the GOP establishment does with the media, constantly trying to get into their good graces, it's absolutely pathetic. Jeff, I want to address this to you. If you are listening, and I don't think you are, but if you are, Jeff, just stop. Okay? Just stop. Trump's gonna win the primary for the presidency in 2020. He's going to win the office of president in 2020 once again, regardless of your efforts, regardless of what you do. You are irrelevant at this point. The best thing for you to do is just walk away, right off into the sunset, and enjoy your retirement. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. The fact that I've got 308 people that are listening to my ramblings just about every single day is just absolutely phenomenal. And once again, I can't thank you all enough for helping make this channel what it is. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you all next time.